Level 1. The Street Asset Informant. You are a shadow in the dust of Ratna Park, smelling of cheap kerosene and dried buffalo meat. Your existence is measured in the grit behind your teeth and the crumpled 500 rupee notes tucked into your sweaty waistband. You are not a ghost, but a ghost size. Every afternoon, you sit by the tea stall where the steam smells of cardamom and stale sweat, watching the Maoist student leaders whisper over cracked glasses of milk tea. Your ears are tuned to the specific click of a bike's kickstand or the rustle of a pamphlet being hidden under a jacket. The sun is a heavy weight at 30 degrees Celsius, and the humidity clings to your skin like a second layer of filth. You memorize faces, the mole under a left eye, the limp of a courier, the way a man checks his watch 3 times in 10 minutes. When the handler passes by, you don't look up. You simply drop a cigarette pack containing a handwritten list of names into a gutter. Your pulse spikes when a police siren wails 3 blocks away, a sharp, jagged sound that reminds you that you have no badge, no name, and no protection if the street decides to swallow you whole. Level 2. The Field Surveillance Analyst. You have moved from the gutter to a cramped, lightless apartment in the mill, overlooking a maze of prayer flags and tangled electrical wires. The air here is thick with the scent of burning incense and the ozone smell of overheating electronics. You are Level 2, an analyst, and your world is viewed through a telephoto lens with a scratch casing. You spend 18 hours a day monitoring a safe house used by foreign intelligence operatives near the Tibetan border. The floor is littered with empty instant noodle packets and cold cups of black coffee. You record every entry and exit with clinical precision. Subject Alpha arrived at 14:30 hours, wearing a blue North Face jacket with a torn sleeve. Your fingers are permanently stained with ink from logging frequencies on a handheld radio scanner that hisses with white noise. The hum of the city is a distant vibration, while the silence in your room is heavy, broken only by the mechanical clicking of your camera shutter. You are learning that the truth is never in what people say, but in the frantic way they look over their shoulder before turning a corner into a dark alleyway. Level 3. The Interrogator's Shadow. The basement of the district headquarters smells of damp concrete, iron-rich blood, and old cigarettes. You are the man who waits behind the one-way glass, the junior officer who prepares the files while the screams echo off the soundproofed walls. The temperature is kept at a chilling 10 degrees Celsius to keep the prisoners shivering and confused. You listen to the rhythmic drip of a leaky pipe and the dull thud of a heavy phone book hitting a chest. Your job is to find the discrepancy in a man's story, the 1-second delay between a question and a lie. You watch the sweat bead on the suspect's forehead under the harsh glow of a single 60-watt bulb. You don't use the baton yourself yet. You use the psychological pressure of silence. You slide a photograph across the table, a grainy image of the man's family at a temple, and watch his pupils dilate. The sound of a metal chair scraping against the floor is your primary weapon. You are no longer an observer. You are the architect of fear, turning the raw data of the streets into actionable intelligence through the calculated application of human misery and cold, hard logic. Level 4. The Deep Cover Operative. You now live under a name that isn't yours, in a border town where the air smells of diesel fumes and rotting marigolds. You have spent 6 months infiltrating a smuggling ring that moves more than just gold. They move secrets. You are the fixer, the man who knows which border guard can be bought for 20,000 rupees and which one needs a more violent persuasion. Your hands are calloused, and you have a scar on your forearm from a bar fight that you had to win to prove your loyalty. The tension is a constant electrical current in your spine. One slip of the tongue, one mention of a Kathmandu neighborhood you shouldn't know, and you end up in a shallow grave in the Terai Plains. You sleep with a serrated knife under your thin pillow, listening to the crickets and the distant barking of stray dogs. You eat at roadside stalls where the grease is thick and the talk is dangerous, filtering through the bravado to find the coordinates of the next armed shipment. You have become a master of the mask, your own identity dissolving into the gray mist of the mountains until you can no longer remember the sound of your mother's real voice. Level 5. The Counterintelligence Lead. The office is cleaner now, located in a secure wing of the National Investigation Department, but the stakes are far more lethal. You are Level 5, the man tasked with finding the mole within your own ranks. The scent of floor wax and expensive cologne replaces the stench of the street. You spend your nights cross-referencing bank statements and travel logs, looking for a single decimal point out of place. You have bugged the offices of your colleagues, listening to the mundanity of their lives, the grocery lists, the marital arguments, searching for the one whisper of treason. The silence of the hallway at 2100 hours is oppressive. You trust no one, not the clerk who brings you tea, nor the general who shakes your hand. You analyze the digital footprints of foreign embassy staff, mapping out the invisible web of influence that tries to choke your country. Every accidental meeting in a park or a random phone call is a puzzle piece. You operate in a world of mirrors where a handshake is a probe and a smile is a tactical maneuver. The weight of the department's integrity rests on your ability to be more paranoid than the enemy. Level 6. The Regional Station Chief. You oversee a vast territory from a colonial-era building where the walls are 2 feet thick and the windows are bulletproof. You are the puppet master of an entire province. The air is filtered and climate-controlled to a steady 22 degrees Celsius. On your desk sit 3 different colored telephones, each a direct line to a different shadow world. You manage a budget of millions, but you never see the cash. It moves in the darkness to pay for information, for silence, and for accidents. You receive daily briefings on water levels, political riots, and troop movements near the northern passes. The sound of your life is the soft chime of encrypted emails and the low murmur of your subordinates reporting their successes and failures. You have lost the luxury of a conscience. If a village must be destabilized to flush out a cell, you sign the order without blinking. You are the man who decides which stories the newspapers print and which ones are buried in the archives forever. Your power is quiet, absolute, and utterly lonely, exercised through the stroke of a fountain pen that smells of expensive blue ink. Level 7. The Director of Operations. You are 1 step away from the sun, sitting in a room where the air is heavy with the scent of old parchment and high-end scotch. You no longer deal with individuals, you deal with nations. You sit across from ambassadors and trade envoys, playing a game of geopolitical chess where the board is the rugged terrain of the Himalayas. You know the secret bank accounts of every politician in the capital and the private vices of every foreign attaché. Your phone calls can stop a riot or start a small war. The noise of the city is a distant hum, thousands of feet below your balcony, where the air is thin and cold. You spend your days in the war room, staring at satellite feeds that show the movement of tankers and tanks. You calculate the percentage of risk for every clandestine landing in the mountains. You are the one who briefs the Prime Minister, telling him only what he needs to know and keeping the rest for yourself. You are the keeper of the state's darkest secrets, the man who knows where the bodies are buried because you are the one who ordered the shovels to be bought. Level 8. The Invisible Hand, Secretary of Intelligence. You have reached the final level, where you no longer exist in any public record. You are the secretary, the ghost who sits behind the throne. There is no name on your door, and your face is never photographed. You move in a world of pure abstraction, where human lives are merely statistics on a spreadsheet of national survival. The room you occupy is silent, shielded against all electronic surveillance. The only sound is the ticking of a grandfather clock that has been running since the era of the monarchy. You dictate the destiny of the nation with a whisper. You see the world 50 years into the future, planning for resource wars and demographic shifts that others cannot even imagine. You have no friends, only assets, no family, only legacies. The coldness in your chest is not from the mountain air, but from the absolute realization that you have become the machine itself. You are the final wall between order and chaos, a man who has traded his soul for the survival of the state, watching the snow fall on the peaks of the Annapurna, knowing that everything below is yours to protect or to destroy.